For it being the week leading up to the Super Bowl, the NBA sure dominated the sports headlines. In what was arguably the wildest and best trade deadline ever, the whole landscape of the league was just flipped on its ear. I wanted to give the trade deadline a few days to pass before officially making this video. Now that the smoke settled, here are my thoughts on what just went down. Starting off with the trade that left the entire NBA stunned with Luka Doncic. On the Lakers side of things, they are set up incredibly for the next decade. The reality of LeBron and Anthony Davis winning another title together grew more unlikely by the day, and it seems Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office noticed this too. It seems that there are always rumors of LA acquiring random superstars, but this time it actually happened. At just 25 years old, Luka is already a top 3 player in the world and has proven he can lead a team. Now, with him being able to learn and being mentored by one of the all-time greats in LeBron, his skill set and leadership will only grow. This move shows that the Lakers already have their sights set on the post-LeBron era, and they now have their new franchise superstar to build around. Speaking of LeBron, this will be the first time that he won't be the number one option or primary ball handler on his team. I'm interested to see how this will play out, but I'm confident that JJ Redick will set up a system in place for both of them to thrive. My main worry I have for this team is the defensive side. Anthony Davis is one of the best defenders in the league, and they lost him for a man who was targeted on defense the entire finals. The Lakers were supposed to get 7-footer Mark Williams from Charlotte, but the trade was resent due to issues with his physical. For the Dallas Mavericks, their vision seems to be set up for win now. They got rid of their 25-year-old franchise player for a 31-year-old Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. According to multiple sources, numerous league executives claim they would have given up anything to acquire Luka, so the fact that Mavericks settled for the first offer the Lakers sent absolutely baffles me. The Mavericks did get Anthony Davis in return, who put up a monstrous performance in his debut. He had 26 points, along with 16 boards, 7 assists, and 3 blocks. However, in the third quarter, he went down with an adductor injury and is expected to miss the next few weeks. This couldn't come at a worse time, as the Mavericks are barely a play-in team. Add on Kyrie's inconsistency to stay with one team and Father Time knocking on Klay Thompson's door, the Mavericks are in a win-now position. Moving on to the Spurs. Being able to acquire De'Aaron Fox without giving up any of their young talent, San Antonio's future is looking bright. The Spurs recognize what they have with their generational talent in Victor Wembanyama, and this move shows how much they value him. The acquisition of Fox gives Victor another weapon to use at his disposal and forces defenses to lock in on another threat when he's on the court. As a team that is creeping up into a play-in spot, momentum is only just starting to build. From a team that was sitting at the bottom of the standings just 2 years ago, the Spurs are poised to be in Larry O'Brien contention sooner than we think. In terms of the Kings, I think they turned out really well given their circumstances. They were never going to win a championship with Fox, and they were able to receive valuable assets moving forward. Through their trade moves, they landed Zach LaVine, 3 first-round picks, and 4 second-round picks. LaVine is one of those players that always flies under the radar, and he is a far better three-point shooter than Fox was. His play can help lift the Kings out of the bottom 10 in terms of three-point frequency and will allow better floor spacing for players like DeRozan and Sabonis. On the topic of Sabonis, he leads the Kings in plus-minus at 134. However, Sacramento has been outscored by roughly 9 points per 100 possessions when he's on the bench. Through a separate trade, Sacramento picked up Washington's Unis Valanciunas, who should be able to help mitigate this issue. With these moves, there's a good chance the Kings could come out of this deadline still in the playoff mix while also being set up handsomely for the future. The third team that operated in the Fox sweepstakes are the Chicago Bulls, and I feel for their fan base. The Bulls got rid of their best player without really getting any draft capital back and were unable to trade their center in Nikola Vucevic. On top of this, they are also taking on the $36 million salaries of Kevin Huerter and Zach Collins. The Bulls have been stuck in no man's land for the past few years, and it seems they are poised to remain there for the time being. They aren't a threat when it comes to the playoffs, and they aren't bad enough to land a top spot in the lottery. Moving on to Jimmy Butler. I think a motivated Butler will work wonders for this Golden State team. While it is true he is 35, his style of game and mentality could be the fire that this team needs to dial in. And although his sample size in the Warriors uniform is slim, he already seems to fit as an incredible second option to Steph. His playmaking and scoring threat will open up more shots for Curry, and when Steph is on the bench, he will be able to provide the offensive spark the team needs. Jimmy also has one of the highest free throw rates of any player in the league, which will help the Warriors significantly as they currently rank at 28th in terms of getting to the line. This move shows the Warriors are actively trying to win another championship with Steph and aren't ready to hit the rebuild button yet. If Butler is able to dial into his playoff version we've become accustomed to seeing, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Warriors playing spoiler for some championship contenders. Considering how messy the whole Jimmy situation was on the Miami end of things, I think they turned out alright. Receiving Andrew Wiggins, a first, Kyle Anderson, and Davion Mitchell are all positives. The Heat are currently sitting in a playoff position in the East, and while they won't be competing for a championship this year, they can finally move forward from the Jimmy saga. While we're discussing Jimmy Butler, I want to touch on Phoenix. Butler's initial destination was unable to fall through due to no one wanting to take on Bradley Beal in his contract. From the Heat's perspective, it makes perfect sense. Not only is Beal a worse player than Butler, but his contract would be worth more than Jimmy's. Still, Phoenix remained relentless in trying to find any team that would take Bradley's deal. They became so desperate that reports came out detailing Matt Ishbia was willing to listen to any trade offers for Kevin Durant. This comes just a few months after him saying that KD was basically untouchable. The deadline was an absolute disaster for the Suns. They lost out on their main target to a team they were competing for a playoff spot with, angered Bradley Beal after doing everything to acquire him 2 years ago, created locker room turmoil, and made no real moves to better their chances at winning a title. Moving back out east, the Cavaliers' acquisition of DeAndre Hunter for Karis LeVert in 3 seconds puts Cleveland in a more than ideal position. Not only did they get rid of LeVert's expiring contract, but Hunter will be a matchup nightmare for the East top contenders come playoff time. The 6'8 wing who shoots nearly 40% from 3 will fit into their offensive schemes perfectly. Not only that, but he's an extra body the Cavs can use on players like Jason Tatum or Franz Wagner. This addition could possibly be the piece that sends the Cavs to the finals. The final team I want to touch on today are the Washington Wizards. It is no secret that this team has been awful and the front office has clearly embraced the rebuild. Through the deadline, they were able to acquire Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Colby Jones, and tons of draft capital. The Wizards now have 23 picks to work with in the next 7 drafts, giving them ample opportunities to land big star talent. Those are my thoughts on what was the craziest trade deadline week of my life. Let me know what your takes are down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share the video. Until next time, peace.